It's not as big of an adjustment because they haven't gone dormant all summer, so it's really like they get back on track. They adjust real well.
TPS staff tell us about 40% of learning is lost over the summer. The district tackled this by pre-enrolling 6,000 students in the spring. More than 4,500 are attending classes this week. Although teachers say it's a bigger group than they expected, they do plan to see better classroom sizes over the summer. Coming up tonight at 6, I'll show you why summer school is also keeping more students from going hungry this year. Reporting in Tulsa, Megan Allison, 2 Works for You.
Now, if you have a school story that you want us to look into, give us a call at the number on your screen or send an email to projectsafeschools@kjrh.com. Oklahomans recovering from storm damage will soon have less time to get help. Tomorrow, 3 Oklahoma disaster recovery centers are cutting their hours. Case Community Center in Sand Springs, Fort Gibson High School, and Wagner County Fairgrounds will be open from 8 in the morning until 6, Monday through Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sundays.
Now, your 2 Works for You first forecast, brought to you by Route 66 Chevrolet and Nissan of Tulsa.
Well, it's been a pretty quiet day out there. We did have a couple of showers that popped up on the radar earlier. Those have now dissipated. We're going to continue to look for a pretty quiet night tonight as well. Here's what it looks like outside on our Viper 4D Doppler. Again, those showers that we had, I should say, off towards the far eastern portion of Oklahoma now moved out. It is 87 degrees outside, and we're going to be watching these numbers drop back down in the 70s tonight. You do have a nice little breeze, though, out of the south. It's coming in around 14 miles per hour, and there are still some clouds across the area, but we're going to be looking for gradually clearing conditions all across Green Country as we make our way into Wednesday. Now, on that hour-by-hour forecast for the rest of the night, heading into tomorrow morning, again, temperatures set to drop back down into the 70s. We should be waking up tomorrow with temps right around 73 degrees. We heat up, though, as we head through the rest of the week and the weekend. We'll talk more about that extended outlook coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Kirsten. Health officials believe that recent storms and flooding are responsible for an E. coli outbreak in Kingfisher. The Department of Environmental Quality says a water well there is contaminated and 4 people have become sick with an E. coli infection. Right now, officials are working to flush the city's water system. And in the meantime, the city of Kingfisher is asking everyone to boil their water. A man suspected of killing his stepfather in Louisiana has been arrested here in Tulsa. Police found Oshie Booker at an apartment near 61st and Santa Fe. Booker is accused of killing his stepfather, Ronald Goff, who was a former mayor. After a brief standoff, he was taken into custody. Officers say he could be returned to Louisiana to face charges. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos offering words of encouragement to dozens of convicted felons who are graduating from college while still in prison. 2 Works for You reporter Giselle Puente explains the program that made it possible for them to pursue a higher education.
It was not a typical day for several inmates here at the Dick Conner Correctional Center in Hominy. A record number of them graduated with certificates and associate degrees from 2 local colleges. The college commencement was held at the prison's chapel that was packed with the graduating class and their family members. More than 70 inmates walked the line in their caps and gown. 13 of them earned their associate's degrees and 59 earned certificates in different fields such as business and landscape. Some graduated from Tulsa Community College and others from Langston University. One of the speakers was U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, who's behind the Second Chance Pell Grant pilot program that helped the graduates with federal money to study. This is literally giving them a second chance at life.
We all need second chances, and that I hope they take this opportunity, as they have, to take a step in the direction of what their life is ultimately meant to be.
Now I have responsibility. I understand my value as far as what I can accomplish for myself.
The commencement speaker was Food Network chef Jeff Henderson, who spoke to the inmates about his time in prison and how he changed his life around thanks to a similar educational program. This is the 12th year the Department of Corrections and Tulsa Community College offer this program. Reporting in Hominy, Giselle Puente, 2 Works for You.
First Lady Melania Trump's spokeswoman, Stephanie Grisham, will be the new press secretary and communications director at the White House. The First Lady tweeted the news earlier today. Sarah Sanders, the current press secretary, leaves the post on Friday. Acting Customs and Border Protection Commissioner John Sanders is resigning from his position after just 2 months. Sanders' resignation follows reports of children living at border stations where they often lack childcare, bedding, and even basic hygiene items. His last day will be July 5th. Well, the stakes are high for the contenders set to face off this week in the first Democratic primary debate. It is a crowded field with 20 candidates participating. Because there are so many, the debate had to be divided. One group is set to debate Wednesday, a second Thursday. The candidates will likely face questions on issues such as immigration and the standoff with Iran. A new poll from Move.org shows Senator Elizabeth Warren as top pick of the members of the progressive group. Behind her, Senator Bernie Sanders trailing by 21 points.
A lot of people still think he's the guy that can beat Donald Trump, especially given the fact that Trump keeps attacking him.
NBC News is hosting the debate. You can watch it right here on 2 Works for You tomorrow and Thursday at 8 p.m. Financial problems for University of Tulsa students may soon be a thing of the past. 2 Works for You's Tatiana Taylor shows us how a rainy day fund is helping them get through college.
This is where Lindsey D-Line spends most of his time. He comes here to practice with the players because he someday wants to be a Division I head coach.
Lindsey D-Line's dream job was in reach until he ran into some money problems that could have sidelined his goals. With the help of faculty and staff, he was the first to benefit from a new initiative through the school that kept him on course. The program started about 3 years ago when the director of financial aid told Paula Clancy, the wife of the TU president, about Lindsey D-Line's story.
Had friends bringing food to him and still was living in his car, and he's like, I can't keep this up. You know, I'm going to have to drop out of school and just to put a roof over my head. And I'm just like, we can't have this. Well,
since then, they have been able to help many students remain in school, regardless of their financial situation. And if you're interested in donating money to help more students, we have a link on our website. In Tulsa, Tatiana Taylor, 2 Works for You.
New cars have a lot of technology to try and keep us safe. And while that's keeping more people out of crashes, some drivers say it may not always work as expected. What you should watch for in your car. Also tonight, many of us put a location into our GPS and trust that it's going to get us there. We'll find out what happened to hundreds of Colorado drivers when that technology failed.
The news never stops. Like 2 Works for You on Facebook to follow the day's top stories.
A Google Maps detour turned into a disaster for many Colorado drivers. Many people say that they were trying to get to Denver's International Airport when Google Maps offered an alternate route. They say they followed the instructions, only to be led down a dirt road with dozens of other cars stuck in mud and ditches.
Why did Google send us out there to begin with? It just didn't make any sense. There was no turning back once you were there.
There were about 100 cars that got stuck on that muddy road. We reached out to Google for comment, but they have not responded. You know, most people whose cars have safety features say they've helped prevent a crash. Well, tonight, Annie Taylor is testing some of those features to see how often they help.
From cameras to sensors and audible tones, more and more new cars offer safety technology to drivers.
They're much faster at detecting incidents or possible crashes much faster than people are.
Maybe that's why Consumer Reports found 60% of car owners who have this type of safety technology say it's helped them avoid a crash. Kelly Funkhauser with Consumer Reports say these types of safety features are becoming standard.
2 years ago, there were just a handful of vehicles where this was standard equipment. And then as of last year, that number rose to almost 50% of vehicles that were coming equipped with automatic emergency braking.
As well as backup cameras. But Kelly says as much as people love these features, there are downsides.
Unfortunately, though, some of these sensors are quite costly to repair if you do get into an accident.
According to AAA, minor crashes can cost $3,000 more just to repair pricey sensors. Consumer Reports surveyed new car owners and found they find lane assist features annoying. But they love backup cameras and automatic braking. Despite the pricey fix, Kelly says never skimp on cars that have safety features.
If there is any way that you can prevent an accident or even reduce the impact of that accident, these technologies are fantastic and are just going to keep getting better every year.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
You know, robocalls are annoying at best, and at worst, they're scams that cost Americans millions of dollars every year. Today, the Federal Trade Commission announced Operation Call It Quits. Officials say they've blocked more than 1 billion robocalls, and they're bringing new cases against people and companies that are responsible. Experts say it's going to take major action to make a dent in the problem, as most of these calls are being made from overseas. I think I get about 10 a day of those. What about you,
I
Kristen?
know. I was going to say, it's just they just keep coming, I feel like. So hopefully they stop.
Yes. One thing we want to see stop is the rain.
I know. Well, thankfully, things do look a lot quieter out there. In fact, any of the showers that we had earlier on our radar have now started to dissipate. So we're looking at pretty dry conditions across green country, and it looks pretty nice, too, as you take a look at some of our Buffalo Run Casino and Resort Weather camera networks here. We have first shown you Owasso, and just a couple of those mid-level cumulus clouds out there, and then taking you up towards our Shangri-La cam, again, some mid and high-level clouds out in the distance. But looking really nice this evening. We're going to be seeing a pretty quiet evening ahead. Your temperatures are warm, but really they're not as warm as they should be this time of year. We should actually be in the 90s already, and today we're sitting right around 87 now at your 5 o'clock hour. Dew points, though, nice and high in the 70s. You have winds coming in from the south at about 14 miles per hour, so you do have a nice breeze. And we're warm all across the region. In fact, Tulsa is one of the cooler spots, if you want to call it that, because we are seeing some 90s in spots. But it's 87 in Tulsa now, 87 also in Muskogee, about 90 in Stigler, and then 91 out towards Stillwater. So for tonight, we are going to watch a thunderstorm complex actually develop up to the north in portions of Kansas. Previous model runs were bringing that complex down into eastern Oklahoma, and it was giving us a chance for seeing a couple showers and storms in overnight late into the early morning hours of Wednesday. But now our latest model runs and what we've seen throughout the day is that this is now taking this storm complex and allowing for it to dissipate then as we head into the early morning hours. So it looks like it's going to stay dry. We'll see those winds coming in from the south with